Hello Sagittarius, welcome to Essence Reflections Tarot. My name is Krista. This is your reading for the week of July 29th to August 4th, 2019. And it is for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can find out when your reading comes out next week. And in the physical, we have the Nine of Pentacles. In the emotional is the Eight of Cups in reverse. In the mental is the Seven of Swords. And in the spiritual is the Devil. So it looks like you might be facing some mental challenges this week and some spiritual challenges where you're kind of going over areas that you've gone over before, and where you are coming up against things that in the past have thrown you off balance and thrown you off kilter and set you into a place of not being, I would say, being in denial. And it looks like physically things are quite stable for you right now. Like you're very much surrounded by abundance and stability, and you're very grounded and connected to what feeds you. Emotionally, it looks like you are perhaps not as stable as you would like to be, and not as connected as you would like to be emotionally. Perhaps some things are starting to overwhelm you somewhat. But really, the part here that looks like it needs the most attention this week is what's happening for you with the Seven of Swords and with the Devil here. And when I see the Devil, it prompts the question of, where are you finding yourself fulfilling needs in a way that is not direct, and in a way that is involves avoidance and involves trying to maybe skip over the reality of what's happening for you, and try to find a softer place to land for yourself, but in a way that actually ends up being unhealthy for you. And often this starts in ways where we start doing this because it's all we know how to do at the time, and it's the best thing we can do in order to look after ourselves and cope with what is going on. But when I see it in the cards coming up like this, it tells me that you've moved on to a place where you're able to start dealing with it differently, and where you're able to start looking at what's difficult and actually seeing what's difficult, rather than taking this Seven of Swords approach, which is to be deceptive with yourself and to kind of be sneaky and not let yourself see what's really happening. And so this is a week of allowing yourself to look at some hard truths, and allowing yourself to kind of take those blinders off and really get down to your motives and what's going on underneath the surface for you. This really is a week to ask yourself questions, to get yourself closer to a space of freedom, and get yourself closer to a space of undoing these chains. You can see these two figures here are bound to this pillar that this other figure is standing on, and this has to do with a way of behaving and a way of responding that is often can be, up until this point, I would say, has been subconscious for you, and something that you have been responding to out of kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and not really something where you've stopped and taken time to think about it and to really assess what's best for you, and how the best response and the most healthy response for you, what that would look like and what that would feel like for you. And so this is a week to really assess what your motives are, and to be able to allow yourself to have come into consciousness those things that you have just kind of let slip under the radar and let continue to go by without challenging them, and without understanding that there is a better way, and a way that is going to cause you to feel a sense of freedom and a sense of stability, and knowing what the truth is and knowing how to respond to that situation. For some of you, this could be a situation where you've been using your spirituality as somewhat of, perhaps almost in a way as an addiction. It looks also like it could be a situation where you have allowed yourself to use your spirituality to hide from yourself the things that you didn't want to see and didn't want to know. So that could be in terms of spiritual bypass, where we see things come up in ourselves in ways of behaving and patterns, and instead of addressing the root causes of those, we step into something that we believe to be spiritual and use that as a way to gloss over those difficult things that we have seen come up, and those things that we, from our shadow, that we don't necessarily want to face. Given your reading from last week, I am confident that you are in a place now that you are able to look at what's coming up and to deal with that and to face it head on, and to find a way that engages with it directly so that it can be dispelled and it can no longer have this power over you, and that it no longer keeps you bound. I'm really curious about what's going on with you, Sagittarius. To go ahead and leave me a comment below and let me know what it is that's happening for you. And I really thank you for being here. It's wonderful that you've come back again this week, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.